张富明早上好，莎莎早上好，马博涛早上好，马树瑶早上好，陈丽萍早上好，龙冠霖早上好，王小怡早上好，玲玲早上好，赵莹儿早上好，李一桐早上好。
早上好，老师。
李一桐，behind you that is mountains, yeah。
啊，
华春飞早上好，林允富早上好。嗯。 Can you see my PPT? We start the chapter term. The nervous system, major important that we have know that our body's regulation include that the nervous regulation, hormonal regulation, and auto-regulation. Among these three regulations, that the nervous regulation is major and important regulation. And then this major the neurons and the neurons regulation, this function is based on the structure. So here that we study section 1, the basic principles of the functional activities of the nervous system. And there we mainly study that the neurons structure and the neurons function. Their neurons function in major important there is that the nerve fibers conduct or transmit the electrical activities. And there, and the second that we have know that the nervous system that the electrical or transmission or the electrical or informations are transmitted between the cells and the effectors. There we called that snap. So here that the nervous function majorly based on the based on the structure of the neuron and the snap. The neuron majorly that we have know that the neurons majorly that the nerve fiber, axons or nerve fibers, they are majorly that he conduct or transmit the activities. And then the snap. So here that we have now the step function also majorly the. So here that all the subjects or materials take part in the snap transmissions, and include that the structure. The structure of the snap also include that the pre-synaptic memory and the synaptic gap, and also the post-synaptic memory. And then this three structure of the snap. So here the snap also in this snap and then determine the step transmission. And there is also that among this synaptic transmission, there are majorly that the medulla there majorly we called about that the clinic or chemical snap. They are majorly the transmission materials is that the chemical materials. There we call that the neurotransmission. So here that in here, so here that we also master the neurotransmission. The neurotransmission, and also then its functions based on the act on the receptors. And also, so here that we should master the neurotransmission and its receptors. And there we have know that that and also some of the neuron integration. They are doing the steps and they are, and also I haven't know that the synaptic transmission, and also because based on the structure features. So here that the synaptic transmission feature, I hope you also understand, is also that the central transmission is also means the synaptic transmission feature. Yeah. Then we know that they are based on these structures, and the neurons regulation functions can be occurs. So here that then we have know that the nervous function very important, that nervous system can regulate the movement of the body, also can regulate the vessels activity, and also that also even can regulate that our the sleep and wakefulness. And also can regulate our brains, the memory and study. So that then this section 3, section 4, section 5, and section 6 is means that the nervous function. the nervous system function. The nervous system function that we have studied that physiology. The physiology we study the function. The function and then is majorly the phenomena, and also we study the phenomena's nature is that the functions the mechanism. And also that we study that all the physical functions is based on the structure. So here that this also that means the structure, the new nervous system structure. And then we study the structure, and we know the structures, the nature, and then we will study the functions. Then we study the section 3, the regulation of the nervous system on the movement of the body. It also means that the nervous system movement. And we know movement that include that like that we have know that every humans that their posture. Posture is the background of the foundation of the movement. And we have know that we do any movement, and also they're based on the posture. So here that also that the nervous system also can regulate our posture. And also the nervous system is the schedule of the somatic movements from the spinal cord to the cerebral. The nervous system include that the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. And here that also the central nervous system include that the brain and the spinal cord. The spinal cord, we have know that the spinal cord is the primary central of the primary central of all the nervous system. Yeah. The knowledge objections, it means I hope you understand and master the knowledge. First, that must concept the spinal motor unit. The motor unit, then I hope you understand that. And also that the stretch reflex. Then what is the stretch reflex, and the type of the stretch reflex and the mechanism. And also that the spinal shock concept, and also that the mechanism also the cause, and also some of the and also some of the bendability and the deflation of the mechanism. Yeah. First, that we have now the overview of the movement that the central regulation functions the movement. And first, that the movement include that the reflex movement. Reflex movement that spin is the most basic form of the movement is generally caused by the special sensory stimuli and has a fixed trajectory, such as the key just reflex, and also the swollen reflex caused by the food swollen reflex, and caused by the food situation of the oral cavity, and so on. Is that we have know that in our body that the reflex movement, and we have know that in the nervous system basically that he the regulation based on the reflex. Reflex we have just talked, we have not yesterday we have started the flex include that based on the flex arc, and also that it can be classified the unconditional reflex and the conditional reflex. Yeah. Do you remember? And the voluntary movement can be responded to sensory stimuli or initially by the subjective will. And the directions, trajectory and speed and the time course of its movement can be controlled at will and can be changed at will during the execution of the movement. And it means that this voluntary movement also can be controlled. The yeah, and a certain moment that the rhythmic movement. This movement a form of the movement that between the voluntary movement and the reflex movement, and has the feature of both the movement. Is also that such as the movement of the respiratory muscles and the muscular muscles, and also that the walking movement. This that we can also that we have know that the respiratory muscles and also that you have a rhythmic movement, and then we have the respiratory rate. And also that this respiratory muscles movement also can be controlled by the high level of the central nervous system. Yeah, the prime level of the system, the prime level of the central nervous system is the spinal cord, and the higher levels and also include many the brain and context, and so this the brain majorly the brain. Yeah. This is the majorly some of the form of the movement. I hope you know that. The basic structure and the function of the motor regulation. We do the movement or the motor regulation that we can see here that the we and also we do some exercise. And first that we should design or planning design. There is a amount of some of the brain errors like that to the basal ganglia 产生的基理神经节。This is very important and major take part in and playing and start and design the movement. And there is the voluntary movement playing and then contour context area. And also this is also that the basal ganglia and also that the cortical cerebral. The cortical cerebellum. Cerebellum also that this major function is that to take part in the movement, and then we have know that if the cerebral design damage, and then also they need first that the patients shows that manifestation that the movement disorder. And also that the pericentral gargoyles and the perimeter area, and there is also the acute. There is also the acute the movement, and there is also that the spinal cerebral. So we have know that their movement is also very complex. We can see here that there are many brains all take part in the movement, movement. And we also know that this majorly the brain errors that take part in the design of the movement. And they are this design. We have know that this design, and then and also then this information transmit to this brain, and this brain also then execute the movement, Yeah. Then we've studied the section 3, and then I hope you understand and know about that the movement, how the movement produced, and also how the movement design and then execute. We just talk about that the central nervous system take part in the nervous system function, and the central nervous system is include the spinal cord and the brain, and the spinal cord regulate of the body movement. We can see here that the spinal cord we have know that there are also that we can see here that there are the major that the cerebral nervous and also the thoracic nervous and also that there are different levels of the spinal cord and also then regulate the different levels of the different areas of the bodies, the muscles. So here, there is also that the spinal cord. The spinal cord, we just talk about that is the primary nerve of the central nervous. The spinal cord regulates the body body movement. There is a concept we call that the final common path of the motion reflection. The final common path. The final common path is also means we have know that also that we have the path the common path is also them. Many cars can across this in our life that we call that the path, the common path is that is many cars can go on this, or through this common path and go away and come on. So here that there is means that this final common path is means that all the nerves and then around this path and then through the path and then send this information into through this path and to the brain, and also that the brains, the nervous and then efferent nervous and then across the final common path and then send the information to the peripheral organs or the effectors. And here that the final common path is that there is here that we have first that study that the spinal cord motor neurons. Then we have studied the spinal cord. We know that in the spinal cord there are a lot of the neurons, and there are neurons there. The spinal cord motor neurons there we call the 脊髓运动神经元. And we can see here that the spinal cord is very important to regulate the movement. Here, the spinal cord is the most basic reflex center of the complete the basic and primary central, the basic reflex central, the basic flex central. And there we just talk about that the flex movement that the flex movement that is that because that the based on the flex arc, and also then this include also that the central nervous system. This central nervous system, according to the basic arc, the reflex arc is that the spinal cord. Yeah. There that we can see here that there are some that there we have that like that we the skin muscles and the junks and so on. This the information can be received by the sensories. The sensories we have known that he can receive this information, and then this information and there also this information can be converted into the electrical activities, and then also that the action potential. The action potential can be conducted by the afferent nerves. The afferent nerves and then reach to the spinal cord. The spinal cord there we can hear that this skin muscles junks this majorly the incoming informations and then around to the spinal cord alpha motor neurons. And also that in the spinal cord there is the neurons, also the motor neurons include that alpha and beta motor neurons. And there this information there around the spinal cord alpha motor neurons. Alpha motor neurons here that we call that the spinal cord alpha motor neurons is that the final common path, and there are also there are neurons the snaps they are doing the level of the spinal cord, and there can the neurons contact this contact also the snaps. The snaps also them there are a lot of neurons. A lot of neurons is also the efferent nervous or neurons. Efferent neurons, and then these neurons that they are regulate or control the skeletal muscle fibers. Yeah. And also the skeletal muscle fibers also they need to some stretch reflex, and also they need to the movement stretch reflex another movement. And at the same time there means that this the first that the sensory this information. And at the same time, this the spinal cord alpha motor neurons can be regulated or controlled by the high levels of the centrals, such as the context. And also the context also then can downstream information from the higher centrals, such as the context. This context also that the nervous and the neurons and the nervous fibers and them send the information into the spinal cord or motor neurons. Then we can see that there are I found that there are we can see here like that. This is the spinal cord. The spinal cord we just about that. The spinal cord there is also the a lot of the neurons, and then we can see here that first that he can receive the information from the skin muscles and the junks and so on. And this information and then around the spinal cord, this is basically the alpha motor unit neurons. And there also not that. You can see here that I not good. You can see here that this is the spinal cord. There on the spinal cord we can see that the we can see here that this spinal cord. This spinal cord, there are a lot of the neurons. There are neurons included that the alpha motor neuron and also the beta motor neuron. There we can see here this the major that motor the alpha motor neuron, and there are these neurons. We can see here that he can receive the skin or sensory and this sensory information around here, and at the same time we can see here this is also that this neurons can receive the downstream information from the high level centers, also include also the brains and the context, and then we call that this neurons alpha this is the spinal cord alpha motor neurons neurons. We can see here that he not only received the peripheral information, and also that he received the high level central information. So that we also called that this we call that this also that this alpha the spinal cord alpha motor neurons like final common path. Yeah, understand? Yeah, I heard that yeah. So here that it means that the spinal cord alpha motor neurons is the final common path. Yeah. So here I hope you understand that why this is the spinal why the spinal cord alpha motor neurons is the final common path. Because that he not only received the information from the skin, muscles, and the joints, and also that he received the downstream information from the higher central nervous system, such as the context. And then this alpha motor neurons, and then received this information, and then sensors, and then integrate the information, and then send the infant neurons, and the nerve fibers, and the nerve fibers, and then control the skeletal muscle fibers. So here that we can see here that this is sensory information, and then lead to that the central nervous, and then lead to the effectors, and then this is the reflex. We also called that the skeletal muscle, the stretch reflex. This that we can see that the stretch reflex 前单反射。the flex movement. There is also flex movement. So here that I hope you know that the spinal alpha motor neurons are the final common path 最后公路 Chinese name 最后公路 for the somatic motor reflex. Understand here? Do you understand here?
Yes, 老师。
Yeah. I hope you understand, and also that if I ask you, yeah. Yeah. I hope you understand that if I ask you the spinal cord, the final common path of the motion reflections, you should know that is that the spinal cord alpha motor neurons, not the beta. Alpha motor neurons is the final common path. Yeah, we have there is also that the motor neurons we talked about that is alpha. And there is not only alpha, but also the gamma. The gamma motor neurons is that he immediately that he is that is also regulated is also effect the levels. And there we have know that his majorly function that this gamma motor neurons is the terminals release the ACH. ACH there he majorly that regulate the intraphysial muscles of the skeletal muscle contractions. He majorly that he needed to the ACH then bound into the M receptor and M receptor and then A receptor and then immediately he need to the intrafibrial muscles of the skin muscles contracts. We can see here that he immediately that he this the intrafascial. Therefore, I have know that the alpha motor neurons is also under the gamma motor neurons. Their function is different, and the alpha motor neurons is the final common path of the spinal cord, the final common path of the motion reactions. Yeah. Here there is also the spinal in the spinal cord there is also that we call the motor unit. Motor unit. This concept I hope you understand them. We can see here that they also that the sensory and the sensory information is by the sensory received the information and then transfer the information into the action potentials and then be conducted by the efferent nerves. The efferent nerves and then around the spinal cord. The spinal cord and also there is alpha motor neurons. Alpha motor neurons. Then we have know that alpha motor neurons they all send the effect. Also that the motor neurons is also include the nerve fibers. These nerve fibers there. We can see here there is only not of the endings and the terminals there. The terminals, one terminus, we can see the one there's a not of the bunch. There are one terminus, two terminus, and three terminus. Every terminus can control the skeletal muscle fibers. We can see here. One skeletal muscle fibers is two, three, 4, and so on. And we can see here that this is we call that the motor unit. It means that is the functional unit composed that of alpha motor neuron, and all the muscles these neurons control and involve the muscles. All the muscles fibers the alpha motor neurons innervated the muscles. These muscles and the neurons, we call that this motor unit. Understand? Do you understand?
Yes, Lecture.
They help understand the motor unit. Motor unit, we can see that this the alpha motor neuron. The neuron there we have the neuron also their structure that they are axons. The axons is also there also that is some there we also that the axons there is also we call nerve fibers. If the movement that nerve fibers. Nerve fibers also we have know that the terminus also the not of the branches and also their terminus. The terminus the one terminus also control the one single muscle fibers. We can see here that 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. There we can see here that these neurons and this neurons is alpha motor neurons, and all their fibers is be controlled by or innervated by the alpha motor neurons. This that it means that the neurons and the muscles, their muscles, we call the motor unit. The motor unit there, we call that motor unit is that the motor unit we have know that in our body is also that is large or small. The large means that we can see one neurons, even maybe one neurons can control the smallest motor unit is that like that there is only six muscle fibers like that. Our eyes, the skin we can see here the skin. Open eyes or closed eyes, there is the skin. Can open the eyes or close eyes. These muscles that only six muscle fibers. There is the smallest motor unit. Yeah. And also that we can note like that we can we have move our arms, and also that we have take heavy materials, and also that these muscles that even the largest motor unit and their muscles is about the even seven muscle fibers. So here that I hope you know that the motor unit that is also small or large. They are small or large based on that the number of the muscle fibers. Yeah. Understand?
Yes, Lusha.
Yeah. First that I hope you understand this motor unit. Yeah, their motor unit also that under some of their principles that there is we have know that the small and large principles is also that small and large principles. It means that the first that that yeah is also that means that the smallest motor unit excited, and also then the larger motor unit excited. The inhibit the stop also that the larger motor unit first stop, and then the smallest motor neurons the motor unit stop. They'll be called that the large and the small principles. You know that, okay? But here I have understand that what is the motor unit. Motor unit is that the alpha motor neuron and all the muscle fibers. These muscle fibers can be controlled or innervated by the motor neurons. The alpha is also that alpha. So here that I hope that you remember that motor unit is that alpha motor neuron. The alpha motor neuron. Then we know that because that also the alpha motor neuron is the final common path of the spinal cord. So here that yeah. And there are many, you will face that maybe some of the examinations you maybe face the questions, and also the multiple the singular choice. Yeah, understand here.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you understand. There are alpha. I hope you remember alpha motor neuron. Then we have talked about that the spinal cord is the primary level of the central, and also that we know that the reflex movement and basically that the basic central is the spinal cord. So here the spinal cord, if the spinal cord damage, and also then due to the movement dysfunction, and also then there is also we call that is this disease like that we can see here that the spinal shock. Chinese name is the 急休克 is also 积水休克. Shock is also we know that it means that the function stop. And also that what is the spinal cord shock? Because that these phenomena and them can be found immediately that clinical doctors. The doctors then in the clinical work he found some patients them because the different levels of the spinal cord damage, and they need to the manifestations of the different. And the spinal cord. But they refer to the phenomena that after the spinal cord of the humans and the animals, all animals is disconnected from the higher levels. Disconnected higher levels, it means that we talked about that the spinal cord is also the alpha motor neuron can receive the information from the skin and the muscles and so on. But also he received the information from the higher level centers like that contact and there if the spinal cord only their spinal cord is the connection between the spinal cord and the higher level centers, and if the cut they collect, and they all found that the ability of the reflect activities is temporarily lost, and it enters or unused positive state. This information, this the situation or this phenomenon, we call that the spinal shock. It means that their spinal cord, we have known the spinal cord is also basic central of the movement or reflex. But that if the spinal cord, and the spinal cord between the spinal cord and the contact is cut, then it means that the spinal cord cannot receive the information from the higher level centers. And there we found that the ability of the reflex activities is temporarily, it means they're temporarily lost, and it enters or responsive state. It means that the spinal cord lost itself functions. And we have known that the spinal cord have the basic flex. So here that flex central. So here that he have the basic, he have the functions that reflex activities. But that if they cut the information from the higher levels, there each self functions, the reflex functions is also disappear. Disappear also means that temporarily disappear. Yeah, temporary disappear. It means that the spinal cord is. This means the spinal cord is normal. Spinal cord is normal, but that the spinal cord response is disappear. And this body is into a unresponsive state. This state we call that spinal shock. Understand? Do you understand? It means we can hear that we talked about that the spinal cord can receive the information from the skin muscle and so on, and also he received the higher levels central the information. But that if we have known that their skin muscles, we can see here that the skin muscles this also enter this, and also then this also there's reflex arc. Reflex arc, we have known that this reflex arc is also normal. We can see here that the receptor and the efferent nerve and also the central, the spinal cord is also the normal. And also that is all efferent nerve and also the effectors. This reflex arc is normal. But that because that the spinal cord we cut the connections there. The spinal cord cannot receive the information from the high level central. But that though the reflex arc is normal, but that reflex reactions disappear or lost. Their loss is also that temporarily. It then means that the spinal cord its functions also that disappear. This situation we call that the spinal shock. Understand? This is that the temporarily lost, not all lost. Always is all temporarily lost. Is that we have I have the phenomenon that after the spinal cord of the humans and animals is disconnected from the information. It means that they cut the collections, and there it means the spinal cord cannot receive the higher levels information. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. It means that their ability to reflect activities, the reflect activities is the temporarily lost, and also their body into a unresponsive state. Yeah, unresponsive state. There, this responsive state phenomena include that we can see also that the manifestations that we have known that the spinal cord is the reflect reactions activities include that the patient shows that the somatic and visceral reflex innervated by the spinal cord, innervated by the spinal cord, below that the transverse sections and the dismissed and disappear. Is also that the basic cord, the basic functions of the spinal cord is disappear temporarily. And the skeletal muscle time, the skeletal muscle contacts, the skeletal muscle contractions is also that the skeletal muscle time or even disappear. It decrease, the time decrease or even disappear. And also that the peripheral ventilation, now the blood vessels decrease. The blood vessel decrease, and also that disappear of the severity reflex, and also facial and urinary retractions, and so on. This we can know that these functions also can be controlled by the spinal cord. That like that we have know that urinary retractions also the primary center is the spinal cord, but that we can see here that even the spinal cord is normal, is also normal, but that the spinal cord functions disappear. This disappear is that the temporarily, not always. And then here, we have a yes, okay. Have a yes. 2 minutes later, we'll continue. Have a yes, okay. Boys and girls will continue, okay? Come back. Yeah. We
Yes,
we have
okay.
now that there is a spinal shock. It means that because the spinal cord cannot receive the information from the higher centers, and also they need to. We found that the term the in the short directions that we found that the spinal cord its functions all disappear. Then we can see that basically that the manifestation that the somatic and serious reflex is basically that innovated by the spinal cord. There is also there can disappear. It's like that the reflex include that the basically that the transverse sections and disappear such that the skeletal muscle context is the skeletal muscle time or even the time decrease or tensity decrease or even disappear. And also the peripheral vacillation, and then it also the blood pressure decrease. And also that even some that the basic spinal cord reflex include that switching reflex, the facial retention, and also the urinary retention, also that disappear. Yeah. This phenomenon that we call that spinal cord. So here that I hope you first that I hope you understand and remember understand and then this majorly that understand and then we remember and also there also I hope you know that there are many things. Then because that in the future you will become a doctor. You will become a doctor. The first that the doctor face the patient is that the patient's manifestations. Then you can, according to the manifestations, then you can get a diagnosis. Then diagnosis is based on the knowledge you have studied in the school or in the clinical study. Yeah. Understand here? Yeah. And there, I hope you know that understand remember. And then this remember can be calculated, evaluated by the exam. So the exam, I hope that if the exam is many choice, you should know that which is correct, which is incorrect. And there are only the master knowledge, and then you in the clinic you can get a correct diagnosis. Yeah. And here that the feature that because that we have know that the spinal shock, you should first that you know that the spinal cord is normal, but that spinal cord cannot receive the information from the high levels. Is that we have know that this the collections is cut. Is also that collection cut means that the collections is destroyed. This collection is destroyed or damaged, and so there need to some many disease and also they're damaged, and they need to maybe the high level central damage, maybe the high level the neurons send the information to the spinal cord. There is this neurons damage, and also there due to the spinal cord cannot receive the information from the higher level central. So that the spinal cord itself functions also disappear in a short terms, and also that this is we call that the temporary disappear. Yeah. And also I have know that the spinal shock. The spinal shock that is these manifestations are temporary. In temporary is mean also that the spinal reflex can generally recover. It means that the spinal because the spinal cord is normal. So here that the spinal reflex can generally recover. Permanent this is the recover like that but that the permanent loss of the perception and the ventilatory movement or below the detection level is also lost. Is almost lost. Permanent lost because that they are the higher central damage. They are related to the functions of the higher centers. They are just the functions disappear. Like that the perception, and also that the watery movement. Watery movement, we have know that we just talk about that the watery movement design include many areas of the higher centers, and also that. So here that we can see here that these functions disappeared. Disappeared the permanent disappeared, and there is the deception level, and deception level. But that the spinal cord reflex is also can generally recovered. Understand here?
Yes, Lauscher.
Okay. Here that the why the we can see here that the spinal cord also that he received information from the skin, from the peripheral organs, and also that he the spinal cord there also received the information from the higher level centers is also the brain, and also then we can see here that there different. We can see that we talked about that, but if the collections if the collections between the brains and the central the spinal cord, they are also different. They are also the different. And also then we have the spinal cord can be controlled by the brains. Also the different levels is also different. Then we can see here that there are we according to the manifestations is a different level. We can see here that we know that the brain's errors damage is also different. Yeah. So there are many the mechanism that the cause of the spinal shock. The cause of spinal shock, it means that the spinal cord is often under the control of the higher central, and suddenly lost its regulations effect of the higher level. It means that he suddenly lost this regulation of the high level, and also that this suddenly lost the regulation effect of the high level, so that the spinal cord itself function temporarily disappear, because that normally we know that normally under the control the higher centers, but that if the higher centers disappear, and then also that suddenly disappear, and also that he also lost his self function. But that we have known that, and also then he gradually recovered. This spinal reflex can recover gradually. Yeah, the cause of spinal cord, I hope you know that, and also that the higher level usually facilitate the endosine reflex and inhibit the fallacy reflex. And also that the cause of the spinal shock recovered, that the spinal cord itself is functional and can perform some simple reflex. The simple reflex that also that if controlled by the central lobes, the reflex also can recovered. The spinal cord, the spinal reflex can be covered gradually. There, I hope you know the spinal shock. Yeah. Understand?
Yes, Lauscher.
Yeah. So that we have know that then we know the movement. We just talk about the movement. The central nervous the nervous system regulate the movement, and there we have know that the central nervous the central nervous system include the brain and the spinal cord. So here that the brain, half the brain or the spinal cord regulate the movement, and then we should distinguish the brain and also the spinal cord. And also they're based on this spinal shock animals, and also then also some of the patients there is also spinal shock patients, and then observe the spinal shock animals, we can find that there is only spinal cord reflex. The only spinal cord reflex. Understand? You understand? Yeah.
Yes, Lauscher.
The spinal shock patient, because that we have know that we have all the word we don't We don't do we can do some the human experiment, but that have no any damage to the patient, to the people. But that if the patient because some the damage of the external environment, and then they are needed to the patient that this we can the doctor can observe this spinal shock patient manifestations. And also that we should study that the spinal cord functions or the brain's functions take part in the movement. And also we can do the animal impairment. Animal impairment also then like that we can cut the we can do the animal do the impairment that cut the less spinal shock patient animals, and then we can get knowledge that the spinal cord have the regulated movement. So here that we will study that the spinal cord regulated the movement also based on the spinal shock animals. Understand? Do you understand? Yeah.
Yes, Lasha.
Because we know that this spinal cord normally in a normal body, we know that this is the spinal cord functions is be not only spinal cord function, but also that we control the high level central. So here that we we do this spinal shock animals, and also that this spinal cord doesn't controlled by the central higher levels. So here that its functions can be observed. Its functions can be observed. After this spinal shock, after this spinal shock, the spinal shock, and then the spinal cord functions can recovered. So there we base this recovered functions observed. We observed the spinal cord functions. Then we know that which kind of the movement is be regulated by the spinal cord. Yeah. And then yeah, that's it. So then we recover we the based on after spinal shock animal, and there are some spinal reflex can be covered. Then we observe this the animal, we can found that the spinal cord regulate the spinal cord functions regulate the movement. There we can see that the spinal cord, the postural regulations of the spinal cord, they are included that the reflexes for several major body movement. Like that, we can see that that these simulations, we can see that the first that the flexor reflex, then also the stretch reflex. There is also then we can see here that there is receptor in the brain. There is a stretch reflex. There is receptor in the muscle spandle, and also there is stimulation like that the nauseous stimulation, and there are the stretch stimulation. We can see the stretch stimulation. It means that related to the muscle stretch. Yeah, and we have found that there is according to the spinal shock animals, we found that this is the reflex can recover. Also, that means that this reflex the central is the spinal cord. Understand? Do you understand?
Yes, Lasha.
It means that this is the spinal cord function, basic the spinal cord. So here that we will first that the spinal cord take part in the regulation of the movement. First that we should cut the connections between the high level central and the spinal cord, and then we can recover only the spinal cord function. Yeah. Do you understand?
Yes, Laoshi.
Yeah. There are, I hope you know that there are also that then this phenomena can be studied and also can be observed by the many scientists, and also then according to their also that scientists or doctors. So here that we nowadays we study knowledge. We know that the process of the study, the process how to study this the spinal cord. We should know the process, and we should know we should know that we should not only we study the knowledge, but also we should know how to study the study to the problems. Yeah. Then if you face these questions or problems, then also know how to treatment these problems, and also you should design, and also you should design, you should to how to do. Understand? It means that we study knowledge. Not only we should not only we master the knowledge, but also we should know the others or the other scientists or other doctors how when they how to do study, how to do study this knowledge. Yeah. Do you understand?
Yes, Laoshi.
Yeah, I hope you understand this the thought, because that this thought that we think also I think we know that our thought is very important. We can know how to think the questions, and also we know to think, and then we know to do. So that I hope you master the think, and the think is very important. Not only also this think is over behind is over the knowledge, yeah. And this is that so here that we can see here that the spinal cord is the center of this reflex, the reflex, like that the flexor reflex, and also that the structural reflex. So there we study that the flex. First that the flexor reflex. Flexor reflex, what is the flexor reflex? Chinese name the 触击反射. Reflex means that we in our life also we found that we if that we can see this or hurt, and also then we then this hurt or supination. I think about that everyone know that if they hurt them easy of the skin, and also their bodies know that how to go away by this avoid this damage, or avoid the damage or supination. There is based on this reflex. The reflex is that we call that the flexor reflex. What is the flexor reflex? It means that when the skin of the vertebrate is supinated by the injury. And then we have know that there is also the sensory. The skin we have know that skin or not of the sensory. The sensory then receive the information, and then by the efferent nerves, and then the efferent nerves send this information to the spinal cord. The spinal cord, there is, we talked about the spinal cord, there is alpha motor neuron, and also there we can see here that is also that is there is also that he sent the efferent neurons. The efferent neurons can we can run to that the efferent neurons then can control and innervate the muscles. Also the muscles. This also muscle we can see here that this muscle we can see that first that the flex muscles of the stimulated limb junctor contact. This that we can see that the flex muscles also that and also that the flex muscles contact, And also the extension muscles relax. We can see here that extension relax, it means that he relax. So here that this is the flex muscles contact, and then we can know that this is the reflex, you flex, and then he avoid this avoid and go away there is injure. There is that we call that reflex. Then we can see here that this is the reflex arc. Reflex arc there. This receptor, this the efferent nerve, and also the central, and also even the nerve, and also that this the effectors. Here we can see that this is the reflex arc, immediately that central. This central is the spinal cord. The spinal cord we can see here that can also that the Flexor Reflex is the central is the spinal cord. Yeah, understand?
Yes, 老师.
Yeah. Then I think about in our life always we think about the many times we will face this information, face these situations. Yeah, there are the flexor reflex that majorly that I have know that they need to that the flexor reflex move the limb far away from the noxy stimulations, and also that can protect can have the protective significations. They are majorly that the flexor reflex is the protective actions, and then we can see that the number far away from the stimulations. Yeah. This also the movement, this movement also that we call that the flexor reflex. This flexor reflex is that the central is that the spinal cord. So here that the spinal cord also then take part in the movement first that the flexor reflex. Yeah. Understand?
Yes, 老师.
Yeah. And then we have known that if the hurt or this stimulation is a non-level, and then we can only by the flexor reflex can avoid this damage and injury. But that if this hurt is a higher amplitude stimulation, and there we found that we should keep this posture or protective actions, and there we found that the cost and also the cost the nimbus should that we call the cost extra reflex. Then we can see that if this the hurt is a large is a high level, and there we should not only by the flexor reflex, but also we should the cross extensor reflex. The cross extensor reflex we can see here that also the motor that with this the sensory neurons, that send information to the spinal cord. The spinal cord also that this the neurons that we can see here that the motor neurons to reflex muscles, and also them the withdraw the foot, and also that we talked about that the Flexor Reflex. But also at that we can see here that the cross that this cross the spinal cord. Then we can see here that this is also the motor neuron to the extensor to maintain the balance and the support weight, and then keep the posture stable. So that we call that cross extensor reflex. What is the cross extensor reflex? It means that if the stimulation intensity is increased, and this increase, then we can see here that the flexor reflex is a high level, and then we maybe need to our bodies cannot balance, and they all should that need to that this stimulation that not only in the addition of the flexing of the inspire limbs, but also it can also cause the intensity of the contextual limbs. Is also that we know that across this we call the across the intensity of flex. It means should that the intensity of the contextual limb control natural limbs. There we call that. There is also the manifestation that the strength of the opposite limb to prevent the teaming as a postural reflex and maintain the balance of the body posture. Yeah, understand?
Yes, 老师。Yes, 老师。
Yeah. So here, I hope you know that this also that this is this reflex. This reflex is the central is that is the spinal cord. So here the spinal cord function take part in the movement that first that we talked about that this is the flexor reflex. Second that the cross Anderson reflex. These two flex. Yeah, this flex majorly that is keep the body's balance and also keep the posture, and also that and also have the protective functions. Yeah. And another second this majorly the flexor reflex. They are also that is majorly the stressing flex. Stressing flex we call the name is the 前瞻反射. This flex, I hope you understand and remember. This is very important. Then we can see here that when a what is the concept that when a skeletal muscle with completely innovation is stretched by the with a completely innovation. And also that is stretched by external force. Then we can see here that if we there is a block that then there we stimulate that there is a force, and the reflex that cause the same muscles to be stretched to contract, and the stretch muscle to be contracted to contract. There are this phenomena we call that the stretch reflex. It means that there are stimulations. These stimulations and then need to can be censored, and then need to reflect that there need reflect that need to cause the same muscles to be stretched to contract or contraction, and there are this reflex we call the stretch reflex. But that the skeletal muscle with a complete innovation. Is complete innovation, then can be occurred this stretch reflex. If that this innovation is incomplete, it means that this reflex arc is destroyed. The reflex arc is the basic structure of the reflex. So here that this is the this stretch arc is complete. The complete then. Based on this this structure, and there if the stretch by external force, and then the flex can cause that the same muscle to be contracting. Same muscle can be contracted. This phenomena we call that stretch. Yeah, in here. So here that I hope you understand that first that this deflation. Yeah, understand here.
Yes, 老师。
Yeah. There we have now that this flex is the flex also that based on the structure of the flex arc. So here that we start the flex arc. You can see here that this also with the tendon reflex. The tendon reflex. Tendon reflex is one kind of the stretch reflex. One kind of the stretch. One type of the stretch reflex. Yeah. In the clinic work and also the lower symptom, the lower department that we found that doctors majorly by the test and then can know that by the test immediately they can see that the arcus of the reflex arcus is normal. Also can get a diagnosis that the spinal cord is abnormal. Spinal cord function is abnormal. Yeah. First that we should know that the stretch reflex, the stretch reflex, we talked about that this is a flash arc. The flash arc includes that receptors, the efferent nervous, and also the central, and also the efferent nervous, and also the effectors. Here, first that the stretch reflex the receptors. The stretch reflex receptors is the muscle spandle. Chinese name 肌梭。There is, I hope you know that this is the strength, this receptor of the stretch reflex. Yeah. Understand? There we can see here. This is that. This is also that we can see here. This is also that. This is the receptor in the muscles. There are the skin muscles. This receptor we call that the muscle spanders. Understand? You can see the picture. Do you see the picture? Yeah.
Yes, 老师。
Yeah. Then we can see here that this is the receptor. The stretch reflex receptor. Receptor is sensitive to the stimulation. So here that this receptor we call that the muscle spindle. 肌梭 is the receptor of the stretch reflex, and also that the muscle spindle is the length sensor. It means that he simulated the muscle's length. The muscle length change, and also that this is the muscle spindle excited, and also he can simulate this sensitive to this stimulate. There we can see here that we also that the muscle spindle. This is the muscle spindle. This is receptor. The receptor we can see here that this a lot of the muscles, a lot of muscle. This is also the muscles we can see. These muscles that after the muscle spindle. This muscles we call that the extra further muscle. We can see extra further muscle. Yeah, we can see here. This is a small. This also the receptor. The muscle. This also the muscle. The muscle spindle. This also the muscle spindle. Yeah. This enlarged. We enlarged. Then we can see clearly. This we can see between the extra further cells muscles. We can see here there a lot of the muscle spindle. This receptor. Yeah, this is enlarged. We can see here that. Understand? Do you understand? Yeah. Yeah. First, we can see here that this actual further muscle. Actual further muscle there. This muscle is being controlled or innervated by the alpha motor neuron. Alpha motor neuron, we have talked about the spinal cord, the also filar common path. The alpha motor neuron is also there to the I hope you know that this is the muscle spindle. The muscle spindle we can see found that there is the actual further muscles is in parallel with the muscle spindles. We can see here. This is in parallel with the muscle spindles. Yeah. So here that this first the muscle. I hope you know that after of the muscles spandus, their muscles we found the muscles we call that extra further muscle. And also that we can see the muscle spandus. Then among in the muscle spandus, there are muscles we call that the intrafurther muscle. We like this also the muscles that we call that this is the intrafurther muscle. Can see here that the intrafurther muscle, we can these muscles all we call that these muscles we all call that the intrafurther muscle. Intrafurther muscle, we can see here that there's a note of this also that the receptor. The receptor, we can see here that the muscle spandle. The muscle spandle, we can see that the muscles there is also muscle spandle. We can see like that. The muscle spandle, we found that this muscle spandle is also that tandem with the intrafurther muscle is tandem with the muscle spandle. We can see here this muscle spandle. This the intrafurther muscle. This is intrafurther muscle. So that we talked about that the muscle spandle is feel the muscle length. If that the intrafurther muscle contraction, it means that the becomes short, and also this is the muscle spandle excited. At the same time, if the intrafurther muscle relax, is also that is longer, and also that this is the muscle spandles unexcited. Yeah, understand? Do you understand?
Yes, Lauscher.
Yeah. And here that I hope you don't know that the intrafurther muscle is be controlled or innervated by the GABA motor neuron. This GABA motor neuron is, we can see here that is also that GABA motor neuron. GABA motor neuron, then there are also that we will there we can see that the GABA motor neuron can regulate this is innervated the intrafurther muscle, and also they are needed to the intrafurther muscle contraction. Intrafurther muscle contraction, and then we found that they are need to the muscle spandle excited. Yeah, muscle spandle excited, and then did their information by the efferent level, and the efferent nervous, and then efferent nervous send this information to the spinal cord, the alpha motor unit, alpha motor neurons. Alpha motor neurons also there send control the actual further muscle, and then need to the control the intrafurther muscle contraction. Yeah. First that I hope you know that the muscles there. I hope you know that muscles include that outside the muscle spandus. There are muscles we call that extrafurther muscle. Extrafurther muscle, and also then among the membrane of the muscle spandus, there are muscles we call that the intrafurther muscle. Intrafurther muscle, we can find that this spinal the muscle spandle is also that the intent with the intrafurther muscle intent with the muscle spandle. So here that the intrafurther muscle contraction. The contraction is that be controlled by the GABA motor neuron. The GABA motor neuron excited, and then release the ACH, and then into the intrafurther muscle contraction. Intramuscle contraction, and then they become short, and they need to the muscle spandle excited. The muscle spandle excited, and then this information can be conducted by transmitted by the efferent nervous, and then sent to the spinal cord, and the spinal cord, and then this spinal cord majorly that the alpha motor neuron. The alpha motor neuron also then inverted the extrafurther muscle, and then need to extrafurther muscle contraction. Understand? This two kind of muscles. I hope you understand. Yeah.
Yes, Laosha.
Okay. There. I hope you know that there are also that in here. We have now that there we talked about the intrafibular muscle fibers also include two types. One that we can see here that this we call that the nuclear chain muscle. Also we call that this the nuclear back fibers. This we call that nuclear chain fibers. Also, there these two we call that we call that this because that we can found that the nuclear chain fibers is their information is there. We can see that this is there is there is majorly that the efferent fiber lower fiber is two type. Also, that this is the nuclear back fibers that is also that their information can be converted and then by the one type of the efferent the lower fiber. We can see here the different that one type or one type and two type. Two type the two type majorly that the nuclear chain fiber. The one type is majorly that the nuclear there we can see here nuclear back fiber. You know that, okay. And also that extra muscles lengthening and their in spider muscles contraction, and also they lead to the muscle spider efferent impulse, muscle fiber impulse. Yeah. There that we found that there majorly that there I hope you know that the muscle spindle the muscle this is muscle spindle efferent fibers include that the one type and two one type and two type. The one type that this is one type this is two type, the two type. Here that we found that there are not only the two type, not only the one type, there are the two type of one type nerve fibers. This is the efferent nerve fibers. Efferent nerve fibers. Then we found also that this also the two type the we can see here that there are majorly that there are that we can see here this infield fibers, and also that this there is the fiber, and there is this the efferent the type. The type that we also that the type that this information is sent to the alpha motor unit and the alpha motor unit. Their information is for send that we can see here the send that also send that also the alpha efferent also the alpha efferent the motor neuron. Also there can this neuron also the control also control the we can that this is the actual further muscle fibers. So here that there we found that this immediately that alpha motor neuron take part in the stress reflex, majorly that alpha motor neuron. Yeah. Understand?
Yes, Laosha.
Yeah. And also that there is the GABA. The GABA we found that the GABA motor neuron, majorly that he we can found that this majorly that there is a GABA efferent nerve. The GABA efferent nerve, there are fibers that control the in all the inverted the intrafibular muscle. So here that the GABA excited, and then they need to the intrafibular muscle contraction. Intrafibular muscle contraction. Know that the intrafibular muscle contraction, and also then there this contrasting them the information can be conducted by the class 1 and class 2 the efferent nerve fiber. The efferent nerve fiber and then send this information to the alpha motor unit. Alpha motor unit and then also that even the nerve fiber and then innervated the actual further muscles contraction. Yeah. Understand this process? So here, there is this process we call the stress reflex. Then we can see here, the reflex, there, can you tell me, what is the major motor neuron? Major is that central. What is the center of the motor neuron? Alpha or gamma? Which? Can you tell me the stress reflex? What is the major central? What is the major central? The central is that the motor neuron, alpha motor neuron or gamma motor neuron. Which? Who can tell me?
Alpha motor neuron.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Goodbye. This class we talk about here. See you tomorrow.
好的，老师，
谢谢
谢谢老师，谢谢。
再见。
谢谢老师。